Díogweave go léir accordia agus tá fáil road. Welcome to Be My Guest with me, Mary Honan, on Lear Media TV, supporting the Samaritans, Limerick and Tipperary, also Clare's Wish Foundation in Limerick and Deal Animal Rescue in West Limerick. Now, my very special guest today is talking to me all the way from Honolulu in Hawaii. So we'd like to say a big aloha to Michael, Diamond Mike Dillard, who is the founder of the Honolulu-based training and consulting firm Ion Reliability Training and Consulting. As a business development coach, Mike is hyper-focused with helping people significantly improve the quality of their lives through the monetization of their lifetime experiences. He has written many articles, some of which can be found in Addicted to Success, Tweak Your Business, Pacific Business News, and Occupational Health and Safety magazine. Mike is also the author of the DIY book, The Facility Maintenance Cheat Sheet, Volume 1, and of course, what would we expect? But Michael is also hugely successful podcaster with his own podcast. So stay tuned, and a big hello, aloha from Ireland to Michael. Michael Dillard, how are you? And aloha to you in Hawaii.
Hello and aloha, Mary. Thank you so much for having me out here. This is Shaka. We say Shaka Bra. So Shaka. That means what's up? What's up, Mary? Shaka. Right. So it's Hawaii, so it's great. I mean,
I was saying beautiful. To you before we started on camera that my father would have loved to have seen Hawaii, and maybe one day I'll get to see it. And you know, you were saying to me that it's me being there would be the same as my dad being there. I'd always thought that if I brought a picture of him and left it there, but you off camera saying to me that me being there is the same as my dad being there. It was profound, really. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah. I hope that it helps, right? I mean, I'm sure your dad would have loved to have come to Hawaii, but knowing that there's a piece of him in you that exists, he made it anyway. You know, when you come out here, he comes out here, you know. But I do love the idea and the sentiment of bringing a picture of him and leaving it, you know, in a place that's just, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And you were there 38 years, are you? 30 something years in Hawaii.
32 years I've been in Hawaii.
And it's still as beautiful as the day you moved.
Absolutely. I've never been to Ireland before, but I imagine if you come from Ireland and you come to Hawaii, you're going to be crying. It's just that beautiful. 30 years later, I'm driving someplace. It's so beautiful. It'll just make me start crying. It's like, this is amazing. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Hawaii 5-0, the series, the original with Jack Lord, was what I think started our love of Hawaii. Because here in Ireland, we wouldn't have known about Hawaii other than the watching series like that.
Which is amazing, because I didn't even know that Ireland had Hawaii 5-0. So I'm curious, like, what other TV shows do you get? Because we don't get TV shows from Ireland. So, like, what other TV shows do you get from America?
Oh, we get all of them. We used to get MASH. We everything that's, because we use Sky, so we get everything from every single thing from America. We get. It's probably why Irish and American, or Irish and English actors and actresses, when they move over, they can imitate the American accent better than Americans can imitate the Irish. Because Americans tend to have the Irish accent of, you know, the leprechauns and shillelaghs, and they don't see Ireland the way it is now. Whereas we you know, there's children growing up here in Ireland with American accents because they're so much glued to American TV.
Oh, wow.
They just develop the accent. They start talking with American accents sometimes because they're so much watching the TV.
I
Yeah.
never knew that. I was just having a business call. So I also do, in addition to running my companies, I also do pro bono business development. It's philanthropy, right? So I'm an angel investor, but I'm not I'm a godly angel investor. In other words, I don't charge people money because they already hardly have any money. It's like, why would I lend you money and then take part of your company? I'm not going to do that. So I invest in their companies. I help them get up and running. I give them training, business development, whatever they need. I give it to them and I help them get up and running, and then boom. So there's 2 companies in North Hollywood that I'm helping right now. And we have a call weekly. So I literally just got the phone with them and they were like, oh, Ireland. Ooh, that's the birthplace of Irish Spring soap. And I'm like, well, I'm sure that's what the marketers would have you believe, but I'm not going to bring up some like Irish Springs and an accent on this. I don't know enough about Ireland, right? I said that might be offensive. I'm not going to do that and jack their accent all up, right?
A lot of people, yeah. We are a very small country that thinks itself as big, that thinks it's bigger than it actually is, because we're very good at marketing ourselves and we're very good at selling our country, much better than countries that are 3, 4 times, 5 times the size. Because as you said to me off camera, you're very good at talking and communicating. The Irish are known as good communicators. We could sell, they say, sand to the Arabs, or we could sell rain to you. And who knows, we get enough rain in this country, we could be millionaires if we sold it. But I didn't ever hear of Irish what soap?
Irish Springs.
So
the commercial, it's green soap. So there's like a shamrock on the box, and it was always like fresh and clean as a thistle, fresh and clean as a whistle. Irish Spring soap, fresh and clean as a thistle. And the guy has an Irish accent, but he sounds like a leprechaun, or at least the accents we always have in American movies with a leprechaun, right?
I don't know if you ever saw the movie with John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara, and set in Ireland, and it's and you listen to John Wayne with the Irish accent and you think no. But then you listen to the likes of Liam Neeson, or you listen to you listen to other actors from England pretending to be House, for instance, series House that used to be on. I mean, he's English, but his American accent is profoundly good, because we in Ireland and England grew up with American TV. So we're used to, our ear is tuned to the American accent more so than the American would be tuned to the accent, because you don't have as much Irish, you don't have any Irish TV.
We don't have any.
Our little station here, we're starting off, and we're very small. There's really only few of us involved, and we are struggling to try and get it. But we're aimed at the Irish in Ireland, but mainly Irish and international audience, because we're trying to get American audiences to really understand what Ireland is about, and that we're not shillelaghs and leprechauns, but that we're educated and intelligent people who are involved in all aspects of society, in the top echelons of society. But we're trying and we're struggling hard, but we're still keeping going with these podcasts. We were just about to start when COVID struck, so we ended up having to do our shows via Zoom.
Got it.
We couldn't even get in all the equipment we wanted to try and get us started up. It was just, it's just been a nightmare for us, and still we struggle on, so I can understand. It must have been very difficult for you starting your business originally, but now you're very successful.
Yeah, it was, it wasn't, honestly, it wasn't difficult. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I had an idea. I had an idea of what to do. And then what I found is that I always say little bit by little bit. So I would just do like 2 things a day. And I think where most people fail is that they have an idea, but they think they're going to wait until they get all of this information and then they're going to do it. I wrote like 5 articles last year that got published nationally. And one of these articles, which people picked up in 3 different magazines, I say, look, you're doing it backwards. What you have to do is make the decision. And then once you make the decision, just go. It's just a little bit by little bit. And all those little steps add up. And next thing you know, you have this big synergy. So yeah, now I'm on the other side of that. But the hardest thing is just not knowing exactly what to do. And you're doing it and the money's not coming in, but you're not being lazy. You're trying to figure out. So that's why I'm so grateful that I had, and I still have a 9-to-5 job, right? Because I make my own hours. I bring that company millions of dollars. I've run a team across the state. I still do my job. But because of how I was trained in the military and because I'm focused, once you have a dream, you don't forget your dream. You don't forget your passion. So you might forget something on the job, but if it's your dream from your heart, you never forget that. So all of these things, huh?
You started off as you worked as in the submarines.
Yeah, I was a mechanic on the submarines, 6 different submarines.
And you just and I think what was going through my head as you were as I was learning more about you before we came on was that it must have been a help in some respects that you were in such a claustrophobic space that when COVID came, I reckon it doesn't matter. COVID doesn't matter when you're living in Hawaii because, you know, every 5 kilometers or whatever that you were restricted to is beautiful as the next in Hawaii. I would imagine.
It is, but I mean, when I got out, I mean, I've been out of the military now for over 10 years, right? So, I mean, for me, it didn't really matter, right? But COVID is taking an effect in Hawaii. I mean, for a while, they closed down beaches. And then when they opened them, they said, hey, you know, only one person can be on the beach. You know, you can't have like a party of people. And it's like, okay, now you can have a party of 5 or 6, but they have to be in your immediate family. If not, then it's just a single person on the beach. And then, so now they've lifted it. On Oahu, each island is different in how they handle it. So on Oahu, they've literally lifted all the restrictions, right? You want to go to a bar, a club, a restaurant, it's open now, right?
And we're in stage 5 here since a year and a half. 1 year.
So that's still lockdown, right? You're still on lockdown?
In stage 5, you're not allowed to have any visitors to your home. There is no business open in Ireland.
Oh, no, I didn't realize that.
Even there's a priest in Cavan in county in up the country, and he's facing a prison sentence. And he said he will face a prison sentence because not since the 1700s have priests been told that they can't celebrate mass on the street in Ireland.
Right.
And he has been celebrating mass, and Protestant ministers have been arrested for trying to pray with their congregations, and that even at social distancing, it's just you're not supposed to go past 5 kilometers here in this country right at this moment, and it's been the same, and yet they've let 10,000 people in on a flight last week without checks, and they've left borders and ferries and everything open, and the Ireland is in lockdown, and it's starting to get to people now. But what I'm wondering is, at any stage, you must have felt, I know you were saying that people go through stringent testing before they're put into to work on submarines. You'd want to be pretty strong to be in a confined submarine underwater. You were an electrician, so you were needed for a long time on the submarines, long term. You'd want to be very mentally strong to be able to take that confinement.
Yeah, it's true. And I was actually a mechanic, but yeah, I was very mentally strong because you're in such a confined space for a long time. But even still, with all of that training, when COVID hit, I think about 3 or 4 months into it, I was like everybody else, like, oh my goodness, I'm basically locked in my house because you're not supposed to be locked in your house. And like my mind was like, what is going on? It was just so, it was mentally challenging. And so I learned it's like, you know what? I have to learn how to take care of myself like mentally. I never had to really think about, things on it was a different type of isolation. It's like you're locked up on a big submarine, but you're doing it by free will. And a submarine is like 360 feet long. So it's like, if I don't want to be in this space, then I'm going to go over that place. And you're still interacting. You have a big family. You got like 150 people. So it's different. There's still entertainment and stuff you could do. But with COVID is different. It's like we were stripped of everything, of every civil liberty, basically. And here you're confined in this space. So, it's almost like we were locked up in a prison cell. So in a sense, we could kind of understand somewhat like what. And I'm a prison minister. I'm an evangelist, right? So I used to preach at the prison. But even in there, somewhat, there's certain freedoms that they could do. But then COVID came and they're like, okay, now stay away. It's like, well, how do you keep people away in a prison? It's a prison, right? So I'm so glad you brought that up because even,
You're under house arrest for
it's
an interminable amount of time.
Exactly. So that's why I didn't realize that in Ireland, you guys were still on lockdown. I have friends in the UK and, they come in and out of lockdown, but I didn't know you guys were. And it's like, well, what does the government expect you to do? It's like, you have to, what about the economy? And this whole thing, this is a huge can of worms right here, which I ask people.
We were in stage 4 lockdown. We were in stage 2 lockdown. We're back up to stage 5 lockdown. And they keep on saying within 3 weeks, then they say March, then they said April. Now it's going to be probably June. And people aren't able to get, hairdressers can't work, beauticians can't work, shopkeepers, big supermarkets can be open, but small shops many of them are closed. Florists can't open, but yet supermarkets can sell the flowers that the florists can't sell. And it's just the regulations. I teach dance as well, and you can't open your dance school even though the children are at a distance, but yet rugby and soccer and all these elite sports, they call them, can open. But the shows are closed down. You can't, if you're a performer or an actor or a dancer or a singer, you can't to the public. Everything, it's just completely. If you get on a bus to go somewhere, the guards, the police will get on and ask you where you're going and is your journey essential. It's just
wow.
incredibly restrictive right now, and it's starting to get to people. It was okay for 3 months, but it's now going into its 16th month.
I can't even imagine. I went through what I went through, like I said, and that was about the third month, because I think the 5th month, I think that's when in Hawaii they lifted the restrictions. It's like, okay, now you can come out of your house. And since I'm an essential worker, so I remember I always like to take what I call a beauty break in the week, because I work so hard. And I say, you know what? I will put intentionally something beautiful in front of my face. I just go to the beach during the workday. I walk around and, the beach is always packed. But during COVID, it was empty. I'm on these very famous beaches and I'm the only person on the beach. So I'm like, okay, it probably was wrong, but I was like singing and dancing and kicking the water. I'm like, it's my beach, right? But because it's rare that, I've been 30 years, I could never do that, right? But that was what we went through, right? So I'm so sorry to hear that you guys are still on lockdown.
It's just awful. It's just absolutely awful. And we're trying to get this station up and running, and we're trying to, and we've all worked in community radio, which is very difficult, trying to make a living out of this. and then we're just down. So, you know, I mean, we're still plowing away, getting the shows out, and you know,
Wow.
and they are we are getting great reaction to them, and there is a
Okay.
great, you know, which we're heartened by. But it's still very difficult because you can't go to people, you can't contact companies for advertising,
Yeah.
sponsorship, or anything because the companies are closed.
So what about like Amazon and stuff like that? I mean, can they bring stuff into your country and you can order supplies through Amazon and stuff
You
like
can
that?
order supplies, but it's to try and get to try and or you know make to get onto companies to say, look, would you be interested in sponsoring this program or that program, or would you be interested in advertising with us? Because all the companies are more or less closed down. Everybody in this country is working from home,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
they're all just answering the phones, and they're not answering the phones all the time. Because
Yeah.
they're only working maybe 2 or 3 days or maybe one day. So it's incredibly difficult. But our station is aimed at an international audience. So
Mm.
we're at the stage now where we're trying to contact companies abroad
Yeah.
to advertise or sponsor with us. But you know, but how did we're back still at the in the submarines. When women started to come into the submarines, how difficult was
Right.
that for men to adjust to the fact that their little cozy little cartel was infiltrated
It was
by
difficult.
huh?
It was difficult. A lot of men had a very strong adverse reaction to it, right? Because they honestly didn't want women on the submarines. It's like, you know what?
Find your
They
own
didn't want the
submarine. Find your own
huh?
submarine. Is that what they felt?
Basically. And the thing was this, right? It's like, you know what? The women are on. So the argument was this: look, women are already on warfare ships, right? They're already on warfare ships. But then the pushback is, yeah, we let women on warfare ships, and what happens? There's prostitution. This happens. The Navy will do. There's prostitution rings, right? There's all types of stuff that's going on where, some women will, blackmail certain people with, sexual favors and all types of stuff. It's like to move up. Or if somebody doesn't want to be on it, then it's like, oh, I'm pregnant. And then that person gets removed from the submarine, excuse me, not the submarine, but from the warship. And now you just lost that person. So I had heard stories about it, but remember I talked about being on shore duty. You have a sea rotation and you get on shore duty. So one of my shore duties, they actually temporarily assigned me to this particular department. And it was a department that was full of women that had gotten pregnant from the submarine. I keep saying submarines. It was women that got pregnant on these warships,
Yeah.
right? And what I was seeing was the women that weren't in that category, they really had a strong, they were very upset with those other women. And they're like, you know what? You make us look bad because we know what you're doing. It's like, if people really, if they genuinely got pregnant, oh, I got pregnant, then it wasn't an issue. It's like, hey, you weren't doing that. But they know people who have bad characters and they're like, you just did that so you can get off the boat. And then it makes other men look at us like we're slackers and like, we're not here to do our job. And that's not true. So you have both sides of the fence. So when it comes to a surface ship is huge. There may be like 350. If you go on an aircraft carrier, it's like 5,000 people. That's a floating city, right? Yeah. Now you go on a submarine, it's 100. A fast attack submarine is like 150 people max. Trident submarine, you have two crews of 150 people. So it's like you're gonna introduce women into this environment. It's like, look, we depend very heavily on everybody on this submarine. So it's like, look, you have to do your job. We can't have somebody. It's like, hey, we're so and so. Oh, we found them in the engine room and they were making out. It's like, you can't have that. Like, no, you have to be focused. Oh, so and so got pregnant, right? So what happened was men were very upset, but the Navy was smart in how they did it. They introduced women onto Trident submarines, because there's two crews, and it's so big. Like I said, my submarine could literally fit inside a Trident submarine. So there's plenty of space. They have individual little rooms. It's like these little four rooms, a bunk bed room with four. Like, we don't have that on a fast attack submarine. So there's really no privacy. So there's like they call it 9-man berthing. There's one berthing, there's 9-man berthing. So it's like, okay, if you're gonna have women on a fast attack, I don't think women are fast attacks to this day. I don't know. But that's the problem. It's like, well, how do you keep women apart from men? So it's like, hey, we're not looking at you in the shower. It's like, okay, on a fast attack, there is no place like that, right? You only have so many bathrooms. So it's like they could sleep in 9-man berthing. Then there's only women in there, but a man is going to go in there to wake you up. It's like you have like a junior person that goes and they wake everybody up for the next watch rotation. So a guy's going to go in there. So hopefully you sleep with your clothes on and, a guy wouldn't see you. But what happens when they try and use the shower? Like, okay, it's just not support. It doesn't make sense on a fast attack. On a Trident, because it's so vast, sure, yeah, that makes sense. So you asked me, like, what was my take on it? My take was, and it's still the same take, I think that women should be admitted to a Trident submarine because there's plenty of room. Right, so their privacy and their liberties are not going to be infringed upon, right? There's not even an opportunity because there's so much space. But on a fast attack, I honestly don't know how they could do that without somebody saying, I'm going to sue you or rape or what. It's too close. They would have to redesign the fast attack submarines. That's what they would have to do. So
I mean, it's a difficult situation with now, and I suppose with the Me Too movement and things like that. Exactly. I think men are becoming. They're in the media quite a lot for. Men are being attacked in the media quite a lot for attacking women or inappropriate behavior or things like that. So I think men are probably becoming a little bit more, we hope, cautious in some respects, but not necessarily so in other respects. Right. And I just wonder how hard it must be for men and women to be in the same space 24/7 in such a cloistered space as that without a situation occurring where somebody accuses somebody else of inappropriate behavior.
Yeah, I honestly don't know that can even happen. I would just think it's gonna happen. But but the Navy said, well, look, we've introduced women into combatant ships. They're on, like I said, these warfare platforms already. So women are holding their own. They can do their job. And it's like, no one's saying women can't do their job, right?
Yeah.
Women are doing the job and they're doing it better than a lot of the men. That's the truth, right? But the problem is men are men and women are women. And you can't remove that. It's like, hey girl, hey guys, like you can't remove that, right? So it's gonna go down where it goes down, right? And the closer they are in confines, the more, and it's stressful, right? Submarines every ship is a stressful.
You can't just suddenly, if something blows up and somebody accuses somebody of something inappropriate, you can't just suddenly bring the submarine up to the surface. It's just, that is just bubbling away, literally underground, under the surface for a longer period of time. It's an awkward situation. But as you say, in the Tridents, they're so big, women could be all in one end and men could be in the other. And you'd never probably even meet.
Well, they would still meet. It's just that the living areas, like where they're sleeping, it's just totally different.
They'd have their own bedroom, sleeping areas, and their own private space, which is what everyone expects. Yeah, right. It must be difficult. But you were a mechanic. So that was easy for you when you came out of the army or out of the Navy to actually go down that route. Was it natural for you to say, well, this is going to be what the business I'm going to go into?
No, not at all. So the funny thing is, I was a mechanic, but I didn't like being a mechanic. What I liked being was an electrical person. So I would qualified all of my jobs as a mechanic. And then I started qualifying jobs as the electrical stuff. So the mechanics would get mad at me. They're like, "Oh, you trader, like, why do you want to be like an electrician?" I'm like, I like it. Like, I like it. So I would study that. So then when I got out, I went to work for an electrical contracting company selling maintenance. And I was really, really good at it. One of the best in the world at what I do. Still am, top 1%. But what it was the electrical. It's like I always had that passion for the electrical, but I'm not an electrician. I didn't have to fix it, but I understand how it works, so I can communicate that to the higher ups. Like, look, this is why you need to do this. So I would talk to their maintenance people because I was a maintenance guy, but because I had my master's in management and business, I'm also talking to the C-suite people and like, look, you have to do this. You have to do this, right? And I would train people. So it worked out very well for me. But yeah, the whole mechanical thing, no. No, that didn't make it easy for me to go into what I went into. It was the passion. And that brings us back to the question you asked me initially, like backstage, was like, how did I get into this business that I'm in? It's passion. So because I had a passion for the electrical and I had a passion for training, and I also believe you'll see so if you have something on the inside of you, like a dream God gave you, if it wasn't birthed yet, if you see somebody else doing it, it'll resonate inside you. And it's like, oh, I want to do that. I just want to do that. So I saw this guy out here and he was giving training on electrical and safety training. And I said, how do I do that? Like I know I could do that. And so when I had the idea for the company, I'm like, yeah, but I'm not an electrician. You have to be an electrician. But when you have a dream, you'll figure out a way around it. So I'm like, God, how do I do this? And then the thought occurred to me, your military qualifications for the electrical. Just ask them. So I said, look, I was in the military as a mechanic, but I qualified all these electrical stuff. Can I qualify for this test? And it's like, we'll allow that as a base, as a like a foundation, but then you have to do all of this training online in electrical. So it was basically like a year's worth of training to get certified. And then I had to take a 3-hour test, but guess what? I got the certification. So in the state.
So much because you wanted it so much.
Right. So it's like, if you're just going out of your head, people would just give up. But if it's something that's in your heart, you can't let it go. You can't forget about it. So it's like, I know you said no, but you are going to let me in. I'll figure out a way. I'll go through it or I'll go around it, but I am going to get it. And those people like me, you'll get it done. So yeah, that's how it's the passion.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes people do things because they're fascinated by the title, or they're fascinated by the money that will actually come from that particular career. They mightn't be interested remotely in the area, just that it's going to be a great lifestyle for them, or it's going to bring them great financial stability, but yet they might be driven completely by something else. And when they do that, they put their whole heart and soul into it. You know, if you're interested in something, you'll remember it and you'll study it and you'll work at it, because they say if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
It's true. So think about this. I own 4 companies. I have a 9-to-5 job. And then there's 2 companies that I help run for free. And people are like, how are you even doing it? How do you even get sleep? I'm like, because I'm on all the time. Because all of it comes from in here. So it's like, you know, if you're married and you love somebody, you don't forget the stuff that they have on that day. You don't forget, oh, you know, they've got to take their pill at 4 o'clock. The kids, you don't forget. It's not hard. Why? Because it's attached to your heart. They're in your heart. So that's the way it is for me with like the businesses. It all came out of me. And because I care about people and I want to help these businesses, I'm helping for free. To me, they're family. I love them.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, I'm not going to let you fail. And I tell them, look, if I got to give you my last dollar, you will succeed. You will not fail. I won't let you fail. So I can't forget. I remember it all. And I just keep going through the day and there's something called, what is it called? There's a part of the brain, like Tony Robbins always talks about
the amygdala.
Yeah. To where you remember things. It's like, if it's important to you, now you remember it, you see it. But if it's not important, you just walk right by it, right? Yeah. So because these things are important to me, Mary, I can go throughout my day, and if I hear something or I see something, it's like, oh, I need that for so and so. I need that for this. I need that for that. So literally, it's like all day long, I'm working on every single company all at the same time. Boom, boom, calling, emails, texts, doing this, doing that, and it's not tiring. It's exhilarating.
Yeah,
It's exhilarating.
I'm a bit
Huh?
like I'm a bit like that as well, Michael. And sometimes I feel people don't understand when you're completely driven by things, and you're there and you're looking at other people who may not be as driven, and
Mm-hmm.
you're wondering, and you're saying to yourself, I wish I was a bit more like them, laid back and casual about it.
Mm-hmm.
When you're so passionate about anything that you're passionate about, you're just it's the last thing you think of at night and the first thing you think of in the morning. And and
Fact.
it's just it takes you over, becomes almost like a magnificent.
Mm-hmm. It is just that. So it's funny you say that, right? I find myself more and more as I'm succeeding, I'm not sleeping as much as I used to because I'm thinking, and I'm like, it's like I can see where all the dots connect, and I'm connecting the dots. And it's so exciting. I'm laying and I'm like, oh my God, please help me go to sleep because I know I need to get sleep. But what I do is I do cat naps. I learned that in the military because you just go and go and go and go and go. And then it's like, okay, I'm tired. You know what? I'm going to sleep on this pipe right here for like an hour. And then I'm going to get up and I'm working again. So you get rests. So that's what I do. It's like, okay, if I'm up all night long, like I think I slept like 2 hours last night. Right. But it's like, okay, it is what it is. I'm
I
figuring out stuff and it's amazing.
I need 8 hours sleep, but
Amazing. You know?
do you think that the regimentation of your lifestyle when you were in the Navy, and that regimentation of being up at night and taking those up early, in bed early, taking those cat naps, as you say, do you think that that
Mm-hmm.
helped you or hindered you in later life? Because now you're
Mm,
obviously driven in the same way as, and to an extent, your sleeping pattern is still very much
mm-hmm.
in that you only get these sleeping at times, these cat naps, but yet you have a more relaxed, in some senses, lifestyle than
Mm-hmm.
your lifestyle is dictated by what you want to do rather than what somebody else wants you to do.
Absolutely. And
So
absolutely. And that's a great question. So yeah, absolutely. And I would say this, if I was just in the military, if I was on a surface ship or just in the military, I wouldn't be the same as I am because I'm a submarine guy. So on submarines, there's no sunlight. So you don't have a 24-hour day. The rest of the military has a 24-hour day. Submarines, you do not. We shift our clocks and we have an 18-hour clock, right? So it's like you work straight for 6 hours, then you get off and you're supposed to do maintenance, and then you're supposed to have 6 hours of sleep, but you really don't get that. So your clock is it's always on. So that's why when I come out now, it's like, this is easy. Are you kidding me? I could run circles around people, right? They're like, oh, this job is so hard. I'm like, dude, you're kidding me. I could run like 7 companies and I could be excited. Like, why? Because it's the way the submarines train me. So you're just always on. It doesn't, that's why I could take a cat nap. It's like, I'm going to work through the night. Doesn't matter. It's
they
like, I'll take
unleashed
a nap for an hour. Hmm?
they unleashed a monster in you. They made.
Yeah, they had no idea what they was making of me. Yeah, that is definitely for sure. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my time in the military because I wouldn't be like this without it.
Was it
Yeah.
very hard for you to because you hear about people, and I suppose it's the same with everybody that's doing something for so long, and you're doing it 24/7. In your case, what you were doing was just all consuming in the Navy or in the submarines. Do you think people become
Mhm.
institutionalized? And I worry that now with COVID and that I can almost see this Stockholm syndrome in certain countries with people who are saying, "Oh, the government is right. The government is telling us the right thing. We
Mhm.
must walk up this line, and we must walk down this line, and we must wear masks, and we must do everything that we're told to do." It's almost like we've abdicated our critical thinking and our critical thought to a superior power who's telling us,
Yes.
if you walk up the down arrow in a shopping center and walk down the up arrow, you're going to get COVID. And you're saying, am I not allowed to actually question? I mean, I suppose my biggest problem is if you went to a doctor and the doctor told you that you had a medical condition, would you take the doctor's opinion, or would you go for a second opinion? And then
I'm gonna go get a second opinion.
well, if you were sensible and pragmatic, you'd go for a second opinion. So why do people criticize people who like to actually think, rationally think, the rules that are being now here in this country? The media is starting to allow the alternative voice, the people who are critical thinkers, to come on and say, well, why are we doing this? Why are we unlocking stage 5 lockdown if we're allowing 10,000 people fly in? If we're allowing 1,400 Brazilians into Ireland to work in a meat factory, and yet everyone in Ireland is on stage 5 lockdown? And Brazil has the highest COVID rates in the world, one of the highest, and yet they bring people in unchecked, and yet they lock everybody else up in stage 5, in level 5.
Right. To a critical thinker, you can clearly see it's like, look, what you're telling us does not make sense.
Doesn't make
sense. Wear the mask. It's like, that the COVID virus is so small, it goes right through the mask, right? Yeah, but wear the mask. And this and that's, like, okay. And now it's like, hey, take the vaccine. Okay, so when we take the vaccine, we're going to be cured? No, it doesn't cure you. Why are we taking the vaccine? Well, you take the vaccine and you still need to wear the face mask, and you still need to do the 6 feet apart. And, it's the herd mentality. So they say a lot of this nonsense. I'm like, dude, you're saying a lot of nonsense. I'm looking right through that. What you're saying does not make sense. It doesn't make sense.
But people, Michael, are starting to wake up now and realize, I think, that this is not working. We've been in level 5 for forever, and now they're telling us that we have to stay like this until there's 0 COVID cases. I mean, really? That could be another 10 years. That could be never.
Yeah, it could be never. Exactly. So what happens to the people? When people get tired, people will take so much, and then you're going to have an uprising because people were created to be free. So you'll have people that are strong, and they're like, you know what, I'm going to fight. I'm done with this. And then you'll have people that are just kind of like sheep, and they're just going to go along with it. We don't want to like stir up no trouble. And those are the people, you can see it, like even right now. Hey, why is he walking around without a mask? If I walk in the store, I have to wear a mask. I wear it. But I'm not putting that mask on until I'm right at the door. Oh, here's my mask. Okay.
As well as that, Michael, there's also this pigeonholing of people, and you're either left wing or you're right wing. And if you're a critical thinker, I mean, I spent 8 years, 10 years, the last 10 years of my life researching, between 2 masters and a PhD. And my level of research is all critical thought. It's, and maybe it's the way you're trained to critically think and not take everything that's just given to you on face value, to think it out and think of, there could be an alternative and all of this. But if you dare to actually say that there might be an alternative, you're right wing. And I'm anything but. I'm right in the middle. I can see both sides of an argument.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, I'm with you there.
And when you're right in the middle and you can say, oh yeah, I agree with her on that, you're right, but she shouldn't be agreeing with her because she's right wing, or he's right wing, or they're right wing. Or if you go that way, oh, you shouldn't be agreeing with them because they're left, they're real left wing. But you can agree with everybody on certain aspects.
Exactly. I think, honestly, it's a fear thing. Because I remember, like, when I first learned that the government is not what they teach you in school. I mean, And you have to think about it critically, right? Well, how does that little small body of people control a whole nation, right? I mean, they condition you mentally to believe certain things, and you go along with what they tell you. But when you question, it's almost like the Matrix movie. Like, you take this pill, you just forget about it and go on your way. If you take this pill, your eyes are gonna be open. You can't unsee it anymore. So like when I realized how the government really was, it's like, wait, how is that possible? Because the government cares about it. Like I'm going through my mind at what they trained me in over all those years, and I'm like, as a critical thinker, I'm like, logically speaking, the only reason they would do it is because why? They don't care. They don't care about they just gave us a lot. Oh, I see. So once your eyes are open, it's like, I can't look at things, but people are afraid to question that because that is their foundation. It's like, and it is scary.
But
so they would rather just ignore it.
As well as that, what was done, it was done in a clever way, because it was a case of, well, you mightn't be sick, and you may be asymptomatic, and you may not even know that you're ill. And well, if you don't know you're ill and you don't have symptoms, and to me, you're not sick. But then but you have to think of somebody else, because they might get sick, even though you're not sick and you're showing no outward or even inward signs of being ill, but you might be asymptomatic and still harm somebody else. And then people are looking at you, and it's turning neighbor against neighbor, friend against friend, family member against family member. And I don't like the way things are going. I don't like the way
it's done on purpose.
It happened during World War II, which was my area of research. It happened during World War II. The Jews were blamed for everything, and his mother, that went wrong. And suddenly people who were their best friends today became their enemies and their betrayers tomorrow, because they swallowed hook, line, and sinker everything that they were being told by a government.
Propaganda. Propaganda.
And that's probably why I question everything. And you usually have, oh, be careful, Mary, you don't want to be agreeing with them because they're either left or they're right. But you can agree with people, or you can disagree with somebody and do it in an absolutely agreeable way. You can disagree.
Yeah, agree to disagree.
That the problem is.
Right. And it's such a good point that you brought up, how it's turning neighbors against neighbors and all of this stuff. And, I think it was FDR. One of these presidents, I don't know if it was Eisenhower, he created like the whole conspiracy theory. Whoever made the FBI, this person came up with the whole conspiracy theory. Why? Because people have wisdom and common sense and critical thinking. They can put two and two together and see you're doing something shady. But they said, no. We're going to come up with this concept, and then we're going to project it. Like, you don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, do it. So you can see it, and it's like, hey, look at what they're doing. Why are they doing that? If it doesn't make sense of you can see it doesn't make sense scientifically, it doesn't make sense. Why are they doing that? It's a control thing. No, it's not a control thing. It's like, but they're afraid to look at it. They just want to believe what they're being told, unfortunately.
Everybody is denying that there's COVID present in countries. But the alternative is lock people up for the rest of their lives until there's zero COVID, and that'll never happen. Or let people just get on with their business and get on with their lives, because it's either COVID or it's suicide with people. Because people, people can only take so much before they actually just give up and say, I don't want to live like this. I would rather be dead than live a life where I can't go past 5 kilometers, I can't see a friend, I can't have a person over to my house to visit, or can't get on a bus without somebody asking me what my name is, what my address is, and why I'm going from one village or one town to another. That's not a way to live. And for the goalpost to constantly, in our case, the goalpost to be constantly moved. If they said we're opening up on June 1st, people would be happy. And then June 1st, like Hawaii, open up. but it came to March and now it's June and it could be September and then it mightn't be until January of next year. And
Right.
that to me is mental abuse.
So let's quick question. So for those people that are watching, I just gotta say, let's do a little if thing. Just please, what if the government did know exactly the effects it was going to have on the people? Then you have to ask, next step, why would they do that? That's really what it is. It's like
Yeah.
they understand the effects, and the people are like, oh, they don't understand. They're allowing us. It was done intentionally. The government, in order to control people, they had to figure this out. They have the smartest people in each country that are in the government. They figured it all out. So then it's like, why are they doing this? Why are they allowing this? Why are they enforcing it? They know it's going to turn people against it. Why are they doing it? It's like you're creating the Third Reich all over. It's like, you know what? You have to stop. I saw people at the beach today. They were at the beach. They weren't wearing their masks. Hello, 9 police? Yes, there's 5 people at the beach right now with no masks on, right? And the police are responding to this like, you know what? That is not a crime. Like, go stop real crimes.
I suppose
But it's dividing.
if someone wants to wear a mask, absolutely, that is their right. But if they think that the mask is protecting them, why are they worried that somebody else isn't?
Exactly. Because deep down they know it doesn't make sense. And and you know what? And it's fear. It's fear. So when I was going through graduate school, that's one thing I learned, like how these different countries, they use media to actually use fear to steer the nation, right? It's like you have a lot of big cows or whatnot. Okay, you got the electrical prod or you got the little dog. They're scared, and it's like they go the way they want them to go. And it's like, that's what governments do. So on the one hand, it's like the government's put on this show, like we're all separate. We're all like, but the elite is the elite is the elite. They're all in cahoots together. But you know,
there's in this country, I mean, it's wall to wall, and wall to wall media, COVID media. You put on any of the stations, BBC, Channel 4, ITV, RTE here in Ireland, TV3, and anytime you put on the news, it's COVID, COVID, COVID. And the elderly people in this country, most of them, 99.9% of the elderly in this country only watch the Irish TV channel. And that is where they're being bombarded left, right, and center with Armageddon. If they walk outside their door and they meet somebody, they're you know, I mean, I don't think it's healthy. I just don't. I just think at this stage it's just all overkill. People need to get back to work. They need to get back to their jobs and get back to their lives and be sensible within those jobs.
Yeah, but you're somebody that cares. Right. So for someone that actually cares about people, yeah, you're right. But if the government is doing this and they don't care about the people, then they don't care about the solution. They know the solution. But let's back up. So for in a mathematical equation, you know, based on whatever variables are in there, right, you're going to get a different answer. So if our equation, so to speak, is to have a healthy, thriving economy and healthy citizens, then, you know, it's like, okay, then you need to take these steps, fix this stuff so we can be okay. But if the solution is no, we need to destroy the system as it is for our own particular reasons, then the right answer for them is keep doing what we're doing. We're on the right track. People are breaking down. They're going crazy. Some people are dying. Some people are killing themselves, which sounds horrible, but it's like, that's the only alternative. If you look at it critically, it's like, that is the only answer that you can arrive at, which is very scary because your whole life you've been trained that the government is here to take care of you. And it's like, if that's not the case, then whoa, these are some very evil people. Like, whoa, they really don't have our best. It's very scary to look at that and embrace it. But at least you're not in the dark. You know what's coming.
So right? I'm sure, you know, you're in Hawaii and you're back at work and your life is back to normal for you and for businesses and that. But during lockdown and that, I'm sure you met with people who were worrying about what their business was going to be if they had business when they got got back for the short length of time that you were out. What advice would you have for business owners who are a year and almost a year and a half now out of their businesses, not allowed to work?
The only option is you have to, okay, that's a great question. So you can only control what you can control, right? And the way that everything is set up now with COVID in your country, you have no control. You don't know. They, like you said, it's Charlie Brown, and Charlie Brown keeps trying to kick the football and the girl moves it away every time. That's what it is, right? So my advice would be to change your business model. You need to go online. You need to go outside of your country and find some way that you can monetize things online, right? Which is basically what I ended up having to do, because my training companies were all face-to-face live training companies. COVID hit, all my money just stopped. I'm like, okay, you know what? I got to change this whole system of how I do things, because they're not going to control me. Actually, if I turn this like that, even like the gym, see, I went and bought my own exercise equipment, got a little exercise bike, because they shut the gym down. We couldn't work out for 9 months. I said, no, I see how this is happening. They're trying to control us. Very well, I'll take that control. I'll buy my own stuff. I'll change my everything. And now I'm not so when everybody else is freaking out, I'm not freaking out, because I already see what they do. And I warn people, I'm like, look, the government is going to do this again. No, they lifted everything. They're going to do it again. You better get ready. So I bought all my stuff and I'm prepped. So if they do it, it's like, you know what, how much water I've got. I got my own clippers. I'm ready, right? And I shifted my model.
You have your own little bunker set up.
You have to control what you can control. And they're making things so that you have no control. It keeps shifting. It makes you crazy. So my advice would be to shift your business model totally. You know, let me see, what can we do online? Should I invest in Forex? Should I do this? Should I do that? Even something as simple as like, I have a client, I'm like, look, you need to start doing adult coloring books. Yes, it's a simple thing to make and it's low cost, but you get it online and you sell it. People are all stressed out nowadays. It's like, you know what? Color, they get peace from coloring. It's like, okay, so this coloring book may only be like $7. Yeah, but you're selling it globally on these different websites. Guess what? 100,000 people just bought your $7 little coloring book, right? It's like, so I'm in cahoots with all of these entrepreneurs all around the world. So I'm learning these different things. And I'm like, I would never have thought of that. They're like, yeah, I just made $10,000 last.
I think I need to talk. I need to talk to you. I really need to talk about. I mean, yeah. There's so many ideas going around in my head, and you know, I'm an ideas person, and then when it comes to it, I never know how to make money out of them. It's just
right
broken up there. Oh yeah.
And the thing, yeah, I can definitely help you with that.
Yeah,
I can definitely help with that. So that's one of my gifts from God. It's like strategy. I know stuff. I just know it. I didn't go to school for that, but it's a gift God gave me. So I sit down with these people. What's going on with your business? What? No, you need to do this. It just starts coming up. Boom, boom, boom. And it works. So I always pray and I'm like, okay, thank you, God. Because I know it's not me. Like, how do I know this stuff? He's telling me it. So then I just take these companies. He leads me to these companies and I'm like, come on, I'll help you. No, you don't want to do that. You need to fix this. Boom, 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 boom. And it's amazing to watch, not just to watch their business come back to life, but to watch this person who was beat down by life come back to life. I mean, I'm literally in my house jumping and screaming and shouting like, yes, look at them. They're back. They're back. It's like they're happy. They're smiling. They're confident. I'm helping some lady now in Bangladesh, right? I had a talk. Oh, Michael, there's no work. There's no work. I'm like, you're looking at it wrong. You don't need money. You need the idea. You need the opportunity. We talk for a while. I'm like, you need to do a virtual assistant. What's that? So we talked a little bit. She just sent me a text. Michael, I just got a job interview for the virtual assistant. And I'm like, yes. So I'm like, hey, don't worry. I'm going to buy your computer. I'll buy your cell phone, because they almost have no money. So I'm like, look, it's not a loan. I'll just buy it for you. I'll give it to you. Right. I'll pay your Wi-Fi for 3 months. It's like, you know what? It doesn't cost. It sounds like a lot, but it's like, it's really not that much money. And you can help somebody change their whole life and get up and running. So now this woman has hope, but a little bit ago, she didn't have hope. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm like, you have to change the way you think. You just need the right strategy. If you have the right strategy, you'll be fine. So this is just phase one with her. And I'm like, boom, you're going to go in here, you're going to learn this, and then you're going to start your own company. I'm going to help you start that company. And so all of these people are saying they don't have jobs. They're thinking the way you used to think. They think they need a job. They need an idea, but now you had the idea. So I'm going to train you how to see it. And then you'll open up that company. And all those people that say, I need a job, guess what? They're all going to come to you. You're going to be congratulations. You're going to be a very rich woman. So it's the thinking. It's how you think. So that's why I say it's like, you just got to shift that business model, get online. And I will invite you, Mary, also. So, you know, I'm launching a LinkedIn Live show, which I'm going to be calling the Young Lions, right?
You're launching.
I'm going to be bringing on guests.
Can you repeat that? Because
so are you familiar with? Oh yeah, LinkedIn. So the business platform LinkedIn, which is where me and you connected initially, you can do live broadcasts on there. It's the business community all over the world, right? So I like to bring people on and feature them, and we're going to talk about certain things. So like you have a message that you're trying to get out to the international community. It's like, well, podcasting is one way. I have a podcast, but another way to do it is this LinkedIn Live. So it's like, look, people love. I'm going to give you some quick statistics. I know we're running out of time here.
Yeah.
We're running out of time, but
I'm just conscious of your time.
I'm good. Thank you. Okay, so let's see.
I suppose we're trying to get personally to an international market and to an international audience. And that's why we went on BMix, or not Zoom. Zoom is how we started doing our shows on Zoom, because we had no other way, because we were hoping to try and go on FM radio, and we were hoping to try and market ourselves to businesses here in Ireland, but all the businesses closed down. So I said, why don't we go online and try and market ourselves to people internationally who would see our product as being good, which is media, you know, Irish media,
right,
predominantly, and because we're from all over the world.
Right. The key is, so what you're doing, it's good, but to get the effect that you're looking for, you need a different platform. That is LinkedIn. And it's so key that we're meeting right now, because LinkedIn just rolled out something they call a creator mode. Like, all of these different platforms are fighting to get people from other platforms. So when they come out with these new things, whoever's on it first, you get so much more organic reach. People can find you, right? So they're just now rolling out these other initiatives for LinkedIn. So like, if you're on LinkedIn and you're doing videos every week, like you have it's like a show, right? So 70% of live viewers like to see a daily show, 40 to 50% like a weekly show. People are 10 to 20 times more like, they're going to give you, if it's a live show, they will give you 10 to 20 times more of their time. So if you, like, say you're doing these Zooms, which is good, it's a podcast, right? You have to advertise. It's like, who's going to see it? Only the people that you put the money into marketing, right? LinkedIn is different. It's a captive audience. Everybody's there, hundreds of thousands of people. So it's like, boom, you target who you want to focus on. You can go on and find the right hashtags. I can show you how to do it. Boom. So let's say you want to do faith, right? So like, for example, I just made a video last week. It went viral. It's still going viral all over the world. Now in the video, I said something like, you know what? Never give up, never give up. But that wasn't my main, it was an underlying focus, but what I didn't understand was that people are so beat down right now, they needed encouragement. And they just took that as like a banner. It's like, never give up, never give up. They started like reposting it all over the world. It's still going every day. Which now that's like a full-time job, just to manage a viral post and get all these opportunities. But my point is this, now I understand how the hashtags works. I'm like, oh, so in this particular hashtag, never give up, there may be like 300,000 people that phrase resonates with. So it's like, boom, you come on, you do your weekly show, you know, and maybe you say and with this creator thing, they're going to give you're allowed to put 3 hashtags, because they're making it so that you can be how do they say it? A micro influencer, right? So let's say these 3 hashtags. So mine might be like never give up, inspiration, motivation. Most of the people that are on LinkedIn, even though it's huge, they're not doing the video stuff. So the people that are, they're the thought leaders. They're the innovators. Everyone is going to them. And then because you're up there doing this, people are more prone to buy from you. They want to buy from you. So if you have something where you can drive your traffic to, boom, 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 they're gonna be the stat. 67% of
we have nearly 300 videos done, and on average, we're doing about 10 a week.
But this is different. So you can't actually take those videos and you can't put them up in LinkedIn like that. This is a live thing. So like me and you are live right now. It's like that, but it's inside of LinkedIn. So if you were to do that, so you get permission from LinkedIn to be a live, they call it LinkedIn Live. It takes you about 10 business days to approve it. And then what you have to do is you get a streaming service. So you can use this thing called Restream. It's free. They have a free and they have a paid version. So with the free version, you can have up to 4 people. So it's like, I'm going, hey, I'm Mary and I'm going live today. I've got 3 guests on my show today, right? And this platform allows you to do that. So it connects your service to LinkedIn. And then that service, that third party, it also allows you to stream on all of these different platforms at the same time. So it's like, hey, I'm Mike Dillard, live and direct from Honolulu, Hawaii. Good afternoon, LinkedIn. Good afternoon, Facebook. Good afternoon, Twitter. Good afternoon, Instagram. All at the same time, all of these people are seeing you. So like your reach is way different than trying to do a podcast. I have a podcast, I get it. But these LinkedIn lives, way different, way different. So what you're attempting to accomplish, you're really gonna be able to hit this mark, but you gotta have the right strategy and the right platform. And the platform to do it is LinkedIn. Not because LinkedIn is business, right? If you go on Instagram, there's some people doing business on Instagram, but there's some people doing foolishness on Instagram or like Facebook or TikTok. That doesn't fly on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is business. You come on there doing foolishness, boom, you're not going to have any followers because that's not why people go to LinkedIn. It is business. And you'll connect with people like me and you connected, right? We connected through LinkedIn. And now I'm giving you some information, which if you take it, I'm telling you, it's going to change everything for you. It's going to change everything. Yeah.
And I think I think this message is for everybody out there who has a business model that or has an existing business and they want to try to change it slightly or adapt it slightly to online, that they think of in LinkedIn business model.
LinkedIn. And it's not just getting LinkedIn. You got to get LinkedIn, and before they'll approve it, so you get LinkedIn and start making little videos. You can make a video that's less than a minute. I can teach you different strategies on that. I'll do it for free, right? But you make these videos and then you have to engage. When the people say something to you, you got to say something back to them. Because LinkedIn wants you to stay on. They want you to keep people on the platform. All the social media, they're all the same. Hey, what are you doing to keep people on our platform? Oh, you're posting videos. They're gonna spend 10 to 20 times more time watching a video than if you just wrote something. Oh, and you're writing something back to them, and now there's a conversation. Yeah, we're gonna approve her video thing. But if you're not doing that, they're not gonna approve just because you got a link. They won't approve it. Why? Because you're not doing anything to keep people on their platform. So you apply for LinkedIn, you make these videos consistently. Just make it every day. Make it every day. It's easy to do. And then you respond and then you apply. So maybe you just do it even for 2 weeks. You do it straight. You got your account, and now for 2 weeks straight every day, you make a little video, you write the little post, you respond to people, then you apply for your video thing. Because all they're gonna do is say, let me see this. She's got video, she's responding, approved. Now you get your show on, you do it the same time every day, every week, whatever it is, and then you're going to start attracting followings. And the fastest way to grow your following is what you're already doing. It's called collaboration videos. So if it's just you, like, hey, like you're just doing this show all by yourself, it's just you. But if you go on LinkedIn and you say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Hey, I'm going to bring you onto my show. Like, hey, you want to grow? You want to do this? No problem. You're going to be a guest on my show. Come on my show, right? Boom. They're on my show. And what happens is you're cross-pollinating audiences. So it's like, Mary, you got your followers, but everybody you bring on, they have their followers. Now they see you and it's like, ooh, you cross-pollinate. Now you got more followers. It's resonating. You got ducks behind you. They're swimming in the water. The ripples are going out, 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 out. It's just like that. It's brilliant. And it sounds challenging, but it's so simple. Once you get it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so simple. I didn't understand it. But now the light bulb is on. I know how to do it. So I can just tell you, like, Luke, I can tell you exactly how to do it. I can tell you exactly how to do it.
Michael Dillard, you're amazing. You're absolutely amazing.
Thank you. So are you, Mary.
This has been such an interesting, it went in different directions that I actually didn't think it was going to go in. When I started off with you, I didn't realize I was going to be talking about submarines. And I started, I thought we were going to be talking about podcasts and about your business and dealings, but it was so much of a variety. You're amazing.
I'm glad.
Another hour, but your signal at the start wasn't too great, but we got through it. It improved massively, and and we should keep in contact. We should keep
absolutely.
in contact.
Absolutely.
And
and I'll let you know once.
Yes, sorry.
I'm gonna bring you on my show.
I can't wait.
I'm gonna send you an invite to come on my show. Yes,
I cannot wait.
I'm gonna teach you how to do all this stuff. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be my first time on a podcast from Hawaii. Aloha, is it what?
It's gonna be good.
What's that again?
Dhaka.
Dhaka.
Yeah, Shaka. This is the Shaka son. Shaka. Yeah.
Shaka. Shaka.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Dara leis an Clare. That's the end of the show for today. Until the next time, Lacuna Day. But Walam to Galer Chiacana, Sonis Agus Gra, Agus Gade Shiv Sloan. Goodbye, Michael. Aloha.
Okay.
Or
Aloha.
I'm not